2020 was a crazy year and one to remember, not just for the global virus, but for the brilliant season the Rovers had. It started great with having high confidence after winning the FAI Cup, and it started tremendously with bringing in some great players, Liam Scales, Reece Marshall and Rory Gaffney. Things then took a turn when the President's Cup was postponed and it never did play. But Rovers started the season with a bang, beating Bows 1-0. Aaron Green's goal sent Rovers fans mental after winning in Dalymount Park. There's nothing better than beating your rivals in their turf in the last minute. Rovers then beat Cork City 6-0 with Graham Burke scoring 5 goals, which was just the trailer for what was coming this year. Absolute madness. We then travelled down to the RSC with new signing Reece Marshall scoring an absolute screamer. We then took on league holders Dundalk, which would be an amazing game that was sold out. We started off really well with Dylan Watts putting us 1-0 ahead, but soon after going in at half time, Dundalk were 2-1 up. Roberto Lopez headed it in to send Rovers fans wild, and then Jack Burns smashed it in. After beating Dundalk, we went to the showgrounds for a tough game against Sligo. It was brilliant we won 3-2, but yet did fans know it would be the last game they'd be at for a while. With COVID coming to Ireland, we went into lockdown with no football. We didn't know about the future for the league or what was going to happen, and it was very concerning for the financial state of all clubs. Fundraisers were set up raising quite a lot of money, but then finally the clubs returned to training. Friendlies started to happen with Rovers playing Cliftonville, Athlone, Cabinteely, UCD and clubs like that, with finally a sight that games would return, but unfortunately behind closed doors. Just like the friendlies. And with an 18-game season, Rovers started back with a bang, beating Finn Harps 3-1 and beating Derry 2-1. And then for the first time in a while, Rovers didn't win. They drew 0-0 twice in a row against two Dublin rivals, St Patrick's Athletic and Shelburne. Rovers then took on Bows at Tallaght Stadium, with Danny Lafferty sending the hoops ahead early on in the game. The result was 1-0. It remained 1-0 until the 90 minutes, with Rovers taking all 3 points. The second round of the Europa League qualifying stages. In the first round we beat Yves Tampere and it was a crazy game, unbelievable. 12-11 on penalties, absolutely mad. It went down to keepers taking penalties and it was crazy. Rovers then had to take on European giants AC Milan. AC Milan put out a strong side with Zlatan Ibrahimovic leading the line and Donnarumma between the sticks. It was a tight game to be fair to Rovers, but in the end they just couldn't hold. AC Milan came out 2-0 winners, but it was a brilliant experience for all the Rovers lads. But so unfortunate the fans couldn't come. Rovers then steamrolled Waterford to prepare themselves to play Dundalk. The Hoops came out victorious, smashing Dundalk 4-0. In the next game, the exact same scoreline happened, except Rovers came out 4-0 winners against Sligo Rovers. Going up to Ballybuffet isn't easy, and that's where Rovers had to go next. We came out of Ballybuffet with 3 points, winning 2-0. Rovers originally drew 0-0 to St Patrick's Athletic, which is what happened in the other game against them. In the next 2 games, we won both of them, taking 6 points away against Derry and Shell. We then had to get ready for the FAI Cup quarter-finals. In the previous round, we beat Cork City to get into the quarter-finals. The quarter-finals was a dramatic game with Rovers 2-0 down at half-time. It was absolute madness with Rovers getting 3 penalties, as I said, but in the space of only a few minutes. Graham Burke then scored the winner and Rovers came out victorious, heading into the semi-finals to take on Sligo Rovers. We won 2-0, putting ourselves into the FAI Cup final. We were eager to take on Athlone Town or Dundalk, but after that game, we really know who we were playing. Dundalk beat Athlone 11-0. It was an unusual final with both sides going for it. Rovers went 1-0 up, but found themselves 2-1 down. Roberto Lopez got back to 2-2 and it went into extra time. In extra time, Dundalk got 2 goals and came out victorious. It wasn't to be, but Rovers did really well and fair play to them. Look, the double didn't happen, but it shouldn't take anything away from what was truly a brilliant season. We had some really good players that year, and we did really well winning the league, and hopefully we can get the double next year. Come on, Rovers!